Welcome to the 2025 Volleyball Rules Clinic. My name is Laura Parker, and I'm one of the assistant directors for the Virginia High School League. Myself and Robert Kyle, the rules interpreter, will be presenting today. Please always feel free to call or email either one of us. VHSL questions should come to me, and NFHS rules questions to Robert. But please CC me on me. I love to at least know the answer once he answers it. The purpose of this webinar is reviewing the rules changes as well as points of emphasis for the NFHS, as well as policies and additional information from the Virginia High School League. Each VHSL member school must meet the clinic requirements. Reminder that it is now the head coach that must complete the clinic. The deadline is August 25th, and there is a $50 fine assessed to the school if not completed. I recommend that all coaches, of course, take the clinic, not just the head coach. Please know that you must watch in full to get the credit, and there is no certificate after. There will be a list posted weekly by the administrative assistants once you complete, and that will be on the sport page, so on the volleyball page. All officials in all sports must register with the Virginia High School League using Whistle. They also must complete the rules test and clinic by August 25th. And officials have 2 opportunities to take the exam. There will be a late fee of $50 assessed through Whistle if the deadline is missed. Level 3 officials, this is all officials must take and pass the test. At a level 3 official must score a minimum of 85% or higher. What this means is that you'll meet the annual state clinic requirements. You'll be eligible for regular season, sub-varsity games, varsity games, as well as postseason. Commissioners will receive state event passes for all 3 level 3 officials. Level 2 officials, be registered and in good standing with the VHSL. This is a 75% to a 84 on the annual required rules exam, and meet the annual state rules clinic requirement, eligible for regular season only and sub-varsity games, but not postseason. Level 1, you must be registered and in good standing, score a 70 to 74%, and meet the annual state rules clinic requirement, and you will be eligible for regular season sub-varsity games only. Rule books, each school sponsoring volleyball program will be mailed the current NFHS rules book. They should have already gone out this week. Please reach out if you have not received them. Rule books for officials were mailed as well. Your commissioner should have those, and please reach out if you have not received those to Jessica Singletary. Other places to find additional information is the NFHS website as well as the VHSL site. Certain things from the points of emphasis, the VHSL handbook, the sports officials handbook, and the officials association guide. Other information on the VHSL website located on the volleyball page under forms are EAP, emergency action plan templates, libero tracking sheets, as well as score sheets. Also on the main page is the state format with the regional breakdown for boys classes. A reminder that boys classes 5 and 6 have now been split. There are still different regions due to one full region not having boys volleyball, so please check the tournament format so you know what region you will be competing in. Again, this is a reminder that under the state format, there is also the region breakdown for boys, class 1 through 4 combined, and the separate 5 and 6 classifications. Contest limits and important dates. Reminder that it's 20 dual matches or 18 plus 1 invitational or 16 plus 2 invitationals. Reminder that invitationals have a 15 set max. Reminder that players may not play on the varsity and JV on the same day, nor can they exceed their game limit. Reminder that minimum practice days are 14 prior to the first contest, not counting Sundays. No reference to how many times the team appears or reappears at practice sessions. So make sure you are following your fall guidelines according to the handbook. And again, you can find that handbook on our webpage. First day of tryouts, August 4th. First contest, August 25th. Region start November 1st and region end date November 12th. Sanctions, reminder that you must check the webpage to make sure that all tournaments have been sanctioned. No member school shall engage in an athletic contest if it has not been sanctioned. The list is posted on the website. Remember, again, you may not go over your 15 sets. State championships, a few changes here. Again, state quarterfinals are Saturday, 11:15. State semifinals, and these are at home sites, 11:18. The championship is 11:22. Class 1 through 3 hasn't changed. It is at Salem Civic Center. Class 4 through 6, this is a change. It is not at VCU this year, but at Virginia State University. And again, this is the boys and girls championship. A reminder that it is a separate Class 5, Class 6 boys state championship and not combined. Special rules by state adoption. The game ball has changed a little bit this year. There is what's called the Nova volleyball, which will be replacing the K1 Gold as our official volleyball for the 25-26 season. But you will be able to play with the K1s for this season. Just for the transition time, if you're unable to get a hold of any of the new Nova volleyballs, full adoption would take place during the 26-27 school year. Again, this is for regular season. K1 or Nova must be used to play in the postseason. Make sure you have ordered a few. I try to give the region at least 3 to the region chair. Sometimes they do not get passed on to the state quarterfinalists. So please make sure you know that you must either have a Wilson K1 Gold or a Nova to play for the postseason. Other rules by state adoption. So districts are allowed to approve the 2 out of 3 game matches in regular season. 4 officials are required for all region and state playoffs games. I would suggest talking to your commissioners about using line judges during key matches during the regular season just to get a practice with that. You may use volunteers, but again, in the handbook it states those that the student must be over 16 if you use a student, and that the person completes the VHSL registration process for officials with no registration fee. If training is offered by the local association, the volunteer must be trained. I suggest talking to your commissioners and the parents or other volunteers that you might be using to get trained. If in Virginia, we do not switch sides anymore. The benches, you stay the same unless there's a clear advantage to the gym. If this is something that maybe we want to change back to in the future, please ask your AD or DSA to bring this through your region to me at the state level. Game management. Please make sure everything is set up about an hour prior and that no one sits on the bottom of the bleachers, that you've looked at your venue and that things are safe, but that no one's on that bottom bleacher. Move them up if at all possible. Warm-up should be no one on sides hitting the balls unless there's clear separation. Making sure that we are looking at the safety of everyone with balls flying all around the gym. Use another gym, or if you're okay with the hallway during the other match, that so that people are off the courts. The safety of student athletes must be everyone's number one concern. Obviously, with activity comes inherent risk. Inform your parents, your athletes of the risk. Teach the safety skills. Insist on safe plays in games and practices. And this includes obviously wearing proper equipment and checking that facility and equipment often. Making sure you're checking your nets, your hooks, your poles, your pads. Super important, not just during games, but also during practice. Heat, hydration, and concussion. Please make sure you're familiar with the signs and symptoms of heat illness. Even though volleyball is indoors, many times AD is off or broken. Teach about the proper hydration and also diet. A lot of times our kids are coming in, they're not properly hydrated. They haven't eaten anything if you're practicing early. So please make sure you're going over with your athletes the proper way to come into practice and into games. Be familiar with the signs and symptoms of heat illness as well as concussion and the protocols for handling. Sudden cardiac arrest. It's so important to be prepared. Every 3 days, a young athlete dies of sudden cardiac arrest. Know where the AEDs are located, have your emergency action plan, and practice this plan. I can't say enough to practice the plan over and over and over again. Make sure you involve everybody in this practice. Again, your EAP should be specific to each practice or competition venue. Reflect the following important considerations relating to managing emergency situations. Collaborate with your AD, your trainer to identify your team. Make sure, have an athlete part of that team, because remember, it's not always the athletes go down. A lot of times it is you as the coach, an official, a fan. So the students have to be prepared, just like the coach and any other adult that's in the gym. And again, practice this just like you would a fire drill. Sportsmanship. Again, we had a record spring of ejections, not just athletes, but of coaches. I want to remind everybody that this is still a priority for both the NFHS and the VHSL. Believe this area only improves if we work as a team. All stakeholders, coaches, players, officials, administrators, and parents. It starts with education on what sportsmanship entails and the expectation of all involved. I believe because it's humans and emotions, it's never going to be perfect, but we have to do all that we can to make it better. Officials, your role is to collaborate with the game administrator, making sure you know where that person is or their designee to promote good sportsmanship. Focus on the actions of the players, coaches, and sideline personnel. Keeping a positive, open line of communication with the coaches. A lot of times they just want to be heard. Sometimes we have a tendency to say, I'm not going to hear you right now. If we can find that time to make sure that we're listening and communicating well, I think that will help. Again, officials never engage with spectators. Call for that school administrator to handle the situation. And that means at times, stop the match. That's okay. And then we can move on once we know that that spectator has been handled by the administration or by security, then we can move on. Coaches, you are the teacher and the role model. If you're complaining, then typically it follows suit, and the fans and the players will do the same. Making sure that the athletes are acting the same way in practice, that expectation of acting the same in practice as you would in a game. If you let them curse or argue in a practice, then it probably will happen in a game. So making sure we're doing the same thing in practice that we would in a game. Again, this is just a slide that represents the common ejections. Volleyball is a little different at times, but the foul and abusive language directed at officials is typically what gets us, or the constant nagging of officials that then spurs more to go on from there. Again, the cursing, it doesn't really matter where it happens or who it happens to. There's ramifications for both. So remember that the first thing is that we do have to clean up our language. If you see here, this has now been in effect, I believe, 3 years. Remember that the 30% rate is for engaging in fighting. The 20% is profanity directed at a game official, and this is of your total contest limitations. And then if there is a fight and someone becomes actively involved, it's 20% of the total contest limitations. So there are big ramifications for these 3 situations. So please make sure that your parents and your athletes know what will happen. Coaches ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct. This has been a point of emphasis for us. Every single time a coach is ejected, they must meet with our compliance person, which is now Todd Tarkington, myself, school administration, which means the principal and the athletic director. And we go through this. It takes up to an hour at times, and that coach cannot get on to back on the court until that meeting has occurred. All questions regarding VHSL regulations, just reminded to come to me, and then rules come to Robert. Officials, please make sure that you are, number one, in a safe place, that the athletic director has a good safe place for you, and that you leave directly after that that contest. If you feel like you need to be escorted into the parking lot, or you see a situation where things might be contentious, if you walk out to the car, please make sure that you're safely walking to that spot. And again, just a reminder, conversations between coaches and officials are not to take place following a game, just like I would not want a parent to come to a coach after a game if they were upset. And again, give that space, go through your commissioner, through your athletic director, and then and make sure that conversation can happen at a different time. All right, now I'm going to let Robert take over.
Great. Thank you, Laura. You might hear some thunder in the background. There's a pretty big storm going over me right now, or you might get visited by my daughter's dog, who keeps to think that I can protect her from the thunder. So I apologize if that does happen. Let's see if we can. It's not, there we go. It wouldn't let me advance. Uh, as normal, just a quick couple slides about equipment and other things that sponsorships through the NFHS. Sports Imports has obviously been a major sponsor of the NFHS. So if you need equipment, they're a good source. I do recommend coaches and admins that when you do order new equipment, and especially a new ref stand, with the advent of more and more boys, that you make it an adjustable ref stand, so that therefore that we can have a better view of the play and not have to rely on any stands or anything, uh, extensions of the stand. And it's still not letting me advance, Laura.
Must just be a delay.
There we go. There's the little. All right. I think we got it now. Thanks. There's, of course, 8 different associations of state associations of high school sports, and you can kind of see we're in section 2. Yeah, it's still not letting me.
I don't know what it's doing.
It's saying I can control your screen, but the little arrows aren't popping up.
All right, I'll do it. I'll
Okay.
control it. All right.
Technology, it's great. It doesn't work. There you see the NFHS Rules Review Committee for all the different sports. Lindsay Atkinson has been our volleyball lead for quite a few years, and she's very good. And I see her every year at the collegiate convention as well. That's the current NFHS Rule Committee for volleyball. If you need to reach out to them, you could probably get their contact information from the rule site. And actually, you should do that through Laurel. Obviously, the NFHS publishes all the major sports for rule books. All right, now we're going to go over the rule changes, which I know that everybody is excited about this one, that coaches boys volleyball. Starting next year, the 26-27 season, the dimpled ball will be allowed to be played. It has been some time coming. Boys would much rather play with the dimpled ball than the smooth textured balls. Wilson evidently is going to be coming out with one, so that's what we're probably going to be using for the state tournament next year. Again, not the 25 season, but for the 26 season, they will be able to be using the textured balls. So be on the lookout for when those are available. They will have the new NFHS stamp on it. You will be able to use actually none of the old, current dimple balls have a stamp. So for you to be able to use them in regular season or postseason, you'll have to get new textured volleyballs. This is another, I think, good change that the NFHS has come out with. Normally, the undergarment had to be the same color as the predominant color of the jersey. Now, your team can wear black, gray, or white, or the predominant color of your uniform body. This is a good change because some colors and some uniform undergarments are not easily found in the color of your jersey. But now they can wear black, white, or gray. But if one person wears an exposed undergarment, they all have to match the same color. Another, I think, good change is the change of where the number needs to be located. It has to be located in the upper half, centered in the upper half of the jersey. No longer trying to figure out if it's too far or too close to the inseam. Should be the upper half. When you are ordering new jerseys for the future, and remember, this doesn't come into effect until 2029. So you have plenty of time to make these changes for your seasons in 2029. When you do order them, and if you know you're going to be using these jerseys in future years, you'll want to go ahead and make sure that the logo, your school does not push that number down too far. Numbers will not be centered. If they're not centered on the upper half, beginning with the 2029, and you cannot complete or cannot start a match without legal jerseys, will be a point, and the state association will be notified. That's not a point per each set. That's the point to start the match. Another great exciting thing is the elimination of the requirement to use a lineup card. I know in Virginia, I've talked about it for years that we have not really required it, but it is a good training tool. Now it is officially in the rule book, not required, and only really should be used for newer officials if they feel that's a good training tool. Should be used as a training tool, not as a crutch. All right, this is probably the biggest one that's going to be the big topic for any fan of collegiate volleyball. They know that last fall they eliminated the multiple contact rule on any ball that stays on your side. So club kind of brought it in at AAU Nationals this year. USA Volleyball has agreed to the rule change, but it will not implement it until next season. But basically what this means is any ball, it is still judgment of the official that is single contact that stays on your side and then is contacted legally by a teammate of yours, we will not be calling doubles. I think this is actually a very good thing. I know a lot of purists will say it's going to make the game ugly or anything. I don't think so. I think it'll allow for continuation of play, eliminates the official's judgment out of it, because that, in all honesty, is all over the place. And will allow for players to continue play. Probably heard that one. This is, I think, a good thing for the sport and will allow plays to continue. Hopefully you'll be able to educate your parents that there's no, doubles on the second contact anymore unless the ball goes over. So officials, you will have to train yourself to pause a little bit when you want to make that call. Don't have the automatic whistle. And I think that from what I've seen collegiately and at AAU Nationals, that it actually was a very positive thing. But do remember that if the ball does use multiple contacts on the single attempt to play the ball, and it goes over and then is legally blocked by the opponent, that is still a double. So those calls may come a little bit delayed, and they should come a little bit delayed. So officials, you still need to judge the contact, whether it goes over or not. One question that I always get when this involved is, what if it's doubled and then sent into the plane and then is simultaneously contacted by both players? There is no fault for a double on that, and you let play continue. So there might be some replays. That's okay. This is going to be adjustment for a lot of people. So officials, just be a little slower on your whistle than what you might have been in the past. All right, libero replacements. In years past, there's been a rotation fault for illegal libero replacement. And now if you identify the illegal libero replacement before the contact is served, the penalty will right now just be an unnecessary delay. It will not cause you to lose service or lose the ball, but it is just illegal libero replacement if caught. If caught after, go ahead and go to the next one, then it is an illegal alignment fault and will be whistled as such. And if you are serving, then you will lose contact. You will lose that service, or the other team will get a point. So if caught before the contact is served, just simply stop, administer an unnecessary delay. If caught after, then it is a illegal alignment fault. All right, a couple editorial changes in the rule book. Nothing's major. If a team shows up with glitter or body paint on, which is illegal in a federation rule set, then and the team cannot get all of that removed in time of start of play, then they will be assessed the administrative red card for the same penalty as illegal uniform, and then the match will continue, and then the officials will notify the state association. A couple editorial changes, you can kind of look at that, kind of just reworded some things, and then reworded about removing the word accurate out of a coach must submit an accurate lineup. The coach must submit a lineup, and then we have tools and penalties that will make it an accurate lineup. Couple of points of emphasis. The lineup card, it is now, again, an optional tool, not a required tool. Please make sure that we are not delaying the match if an official does decide to use it. If the match is being delayed because of the official using the lineup card, then the R1 could have the authority to ask that official to remove the use of the lineup card. Substitution still with the lineup card. If you could do it in and out quickly and you're still using it, then do it. If not, then just make sure that you are notifying the scorer of the correct substitutions, which you should be doing that anyway. If there are, and this is just a kind of you should be doing this, hold up one side, authorize one substitution, make sure the scorer has that, and then authorize the second substitution once you've done that. And that should be normal technique, and it's not really changing. Ball handling, I know I talked about it a few slides ago. Just make sure that officials, you are waiting a little bit. Don't have that automatic whistle. When that middle puts up their hands, you expect a double, but allow them to make that contact to see where the next ball goes up. And that's my apologies to all middles. As a point of emphasis, though, catches and throws, prolonged contacts, those are still whistled regardless of the contact, first, second, or third team contact. We still must signal those faults, and please be prepared to still do those faults. The doubles are the ones that we're going to be a little bit slow on signaling. Again, don't forget, if it stays on your side and then is contacted by a teammate before going over, there is no fault. But if that double contact goes over the net or into the plane and is legally blocked, then there is a fault. This was a change last year that kind of snuck through that I don't think any of us saw until later in the season. Is the line judges, that because we're not switching sides, the rule said that the line judges would switch sides. We as a state are adopting that if the R1 feels that the line judges do not have to switch sides, then they have the option of keeping them on the same side. But that determination needs to be made before the start of the match so that both coaches are aware. If you are using certified line judges, my recommendation is that they stay on the corner that they are on. So that is my recommendation. But if you're using volunteer and you feel that they need to switch sides for competitive balance, then the R1 has that ability. Uniform contrasting, I can tell you this has been a bane of existence for years. The rule is that the libero must clearly contrast from all angles. Coaches, we ask that you try not to use the same colors on both jerseys when you are ordering, and I appreciate, and I know Laura does, all of the emails that we get in the off season about, hey, I'm ordering new jerseys. Does this make it legal? We would much rather you do that and have us approve them ahead of time than get calls in the middle of the season telling you, hey, that jersey happens to be illegal. So continue that when you are ordering new jerseys. It's a good idea to send that to Laura and myself. Numbers, the one on the far left, that has been a rule change for a number of years. The outlines do not matter anymore. It must clearly, the body of the number must clearly contrast from the rest of the jersey. Couple of NFHS federations. NFHS Learn is a great resource. This is a cloud-based, which maybe Laura, you could talk about it. This is fairly new, the Center for Official Services, but most of that is available through NFHS Learn. I think would be the best place for that.
Yeah, if you on the NFHS Learn, there's lots of new volleyball training videos that came out, keeping score in volleyball. So if you have a parent or a volunteer, there is actual video, great video that will help you do that. Libero tracking as well, designed to make it simple and accurate. So that's will be available on NFHS Learn. Actually, I think it's out already. Again, just all the different exams, lots of different tools on there that you can see. Also, again, the improved exam center. The other is the NFHS, the Learning Center is home to 90 online professional development courses. Obviously, we know that the concussion class is probably the most seen over the years. You look at that, 8.4 million. But please go on there. There are so many good, so much good information, safety, skill-based, parent, even to the fact that there's the new parent seat learning series. That's very good for a parent to go through if you're having issues with some of your fans. So lots of good information there to be found. And the network, 27 different sports and activities by 2028. This is obviously it's growing. We want the NFHS network to be at every school. Virginia is a lot of our schools do have it. It is growing, and hopefully more and more will continue to get the service provided to our fans. The NFHS network, again, it talks about 150,000 live events every year. And please, if your school is not a member, please contact Mark Koski at the NFHS network. Robert, you want to go over the authentication?
Yeah, the authentication logo has changed a little bit. So all of the new balls will have the new logo you see in the bottom left. We are still obviously allowing the balls with the old logos to be used as well because, not schools can't afford new balls every year. So that's just the biggest thing. Look out for the new authentication mark. And there's different sizes, which makes them not be able to be forged.
Yep, there's
and that's
the two
just logo different sizes. It is a little bit bigger.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all for everything today. Again, my contact, Robert's contact. Feel free to pick up the phone or shoot us an email. Sometimes Robert's on the road a lot, so it may take him a little while to get back to you. But please just be patient with that, and we appreciate your time. And good luck to you all during the season.
Good luck, everyone.